The Eagles, off a big win against the Saints, will look to go 3-1 as they head to Tampa to take on the Bucs.
Sirianni got to be smart with the play calls. The defense got to keep playing better like last week, and they got to get the run game going.
Again, it's Smith. 3 straight throws to him to start this drive, and then he gets crunched.
Will they be able to get the win with injuries to key players?
The Phillies will celebrate as National League East champions.
And the last weekend of the Phillies' regular season is upon us. Up next, Red October. So what time is it?
It's time to get fantastic.
From Fox 29 News, this is the Phantastic Sports Show.
Oh, Friday.
Hi.
Friday, where have you been our whole week? It's been a long week, it seems, but it's been a good one. I mean, there's been a champagne celebration this week.
Yeah.
There's been a lot to kind of talk about, and it's all culminating to this Friday night.
Woohoo!
Let's go.
By the way, Dolia, is that like a Phillies mask? Because it was red and blue.
Dolia
Did you see
Nacho
that?
Libre.
Yeah, Nacho Libre. Red October.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, whatever. So here we go. Here is what is on deck this evening. We have to talk Eagles and Bucs. This is, of course, the last day we can talk before kickoff occurs at 1 p.m. Sunday right here on Fox 29. Also, we're going to take a look around the NFL as a whole and another Red October. However, tonight was kind of a
red. It was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
But not that it was red September. I have no idea what's going to happen in this Bucs-Eagles game. I have no expectation. I have no anything.
I do. I want an Eagles win.
Then put some money on it, Breland.
Okay, well, you're just
won't do it.
You're just trying to Pied Piper me into ruin, into financial ruin.
Yep. What's the phone number?
215-915-PHAN. Send in the selfie-style videos, and if that does not work for you, you can also use fox29.com/upload.
Like a desktop computer?
Yeah, we'll get it either way. If you want to go old school, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll be right back.
With Kyle Fisher.
In 30 seconds?
Yes.
Welcome back into the Phantastic Sports Show as we get things teed up. The graphic. There we are. We get things teed up. And those Eagles headed down to Tampa Bay, a very rainy, gross Tampa Bay.
It is. It's getting better, but the Eagles are banged up already.
Oh, yeah. Well, so is Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
so,
a lot of teams are at this point.
Yeah, which is,
it's early.
It's early, and people are very banged up already.
Okay, and we will talk about the bye week and whether the banged up and bye week, maybe it's a good thing this early, that bye week.
Yes, absolutely. But first things first, in order to get us set up, let's go to the fan cam.
Oh, I wanted you to say Fanny.
No.
At the minimum, we got to get the ball to Saquon at least 30 times between running the football and catching passes out of the backfield. And we're going to need a major contribution from our tight end group. We need another ferocious effort from our defense. Their offensive line is somewhat banged up, so we should be able to get to Baker and get some sacks.
Paul.
All right, Paul kicking us off. Hey, Kyle, how are you?
Doing well, guys. How are you?
Kyle
Excited
Fisher.
to talk some birds.
Your second time on the show, right?
Number 2.
If you don't know Kyle, he writes for the Philly Sports Network for the Phils and Metro Philly. But he has the coolest job ever. He's a sideline producer for Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, Kyle Fisher. I got to work on my Jim Nantz.
Hello, friends.
You guys with Hello, friends.
Hello, friends. Yeah, it's a different Jim Nantz golf, Jim Nantz football, Definitely. 2 different Jim Nantzes. Okay. All right, but you're an Eagles guy, first and foremost. Let's talk about these guys through 3 weeks. Jekyll and Hyde team?
I don't think so, but
do they have an identity crisis a little bit, though?
No.
Who are these guys?
I just think with 2 new coordinators, in my opinion, they are trying to
know
find
each other.
their identity to begin with. But Kyle, what do you think? Are they a Jekyll and Hyde team? You can disagree.
No, I agree more with what you said, Braylon. I think that they are a team trying to find themselves with 2 new coordinators. Without the guy who is really the captain of the team in Jason Kelsey. I heard him on the radio earlier this week. He likes some of the things that the O-line is doing. He likes some of the things that Kellen Moore has shown. He likes what Jalen has done. But they're trying to figure it out. It's
and you'll hear Paul talk about the tight ends, and I think they're going to have to play a huge role, especially if both of our receivers are out this weekend.
Yeah, and I think that they are going to. Earlier this week, it was kind of an under the radar move, but Jack Stoll was elevated to the active roster, so that gives them Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and Jack Stoll. So I have a feeling that is very much the plan. And
they have the talent. Those guys are talented. It's just a matter of, are they getting open, and can Jalen find them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that the key is going to be Jalen being able to find those openings. The weather will be determined. The tough part is going to be that Tampa Bay's defense is starting to get a little healthy. So their strong rushing attack might be challenged a little bit more this coming weekend.
The Tampa weather.
It's going to be
and others coming back.
Well, they can handle humid.
Always humid.
Okay, so there's a chance of rain, 88 degrees. Yep, sounds like a typical Tampa day in September.
It's going to be humid, and there's really nothing you can do to prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's just part of being a player in the NFL. I do want to talk, as we talk injuries here, about what is going on with this Eagles team, specifically in the receiving core, because that is, we touched on it, but I mean, without AJ and Devontae. By the way, Devontae officially ruled out. AJ is still questionable, as is Lane Johnson. So we'll get a little more clarification on that. Also,
what did you want to say about this hit?
No penalty, but one of the lightest fines I've ever seen for blindsiding a player. Comes out after the game. No penalty at the time.
So there is, and if you guys are confused at home on why there is such a light fine, it was only $4,600. It's because a player can only be fined 10% of their salary cap hit. He's a rookie, so that's why he's not making a lot of money. So
I always wondered,
that's why.
What if you don't pay the fine? Like, is there late fees?
It's usually for a first-time offender when you hit a defenseless player like that, it's $16,000. He got $4,600 because of the nature of his salary, which I'm not. By the way, I'm not yucking his salary. It's like $800-something thousand. I would very much like that. So I'm not.
But
I'm not yucking it.
Before we go to the fan cam, AJ did practice today, though.
He
correct?
Did, yes, in a limited capacity.
To me, that's a good sign.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful.
75% to 80% AJ is better than nobody.
Yeah, true. I am hopeful. Let's go to the fan cam.
The most important thing, I think, is going to be a pass rush, man. If they can get that pass rush going and just make them uncomfortable, I think it'll go a long way. Obviously, the offensive weapons are unknown as of right now.
Watch those injuries. Make smart decisions. Be healthy. Can't afford to lose anybody else.
Yeah,
totally agree.
I definitely agree there.
And can we get something from Bryce Huff? It's like something. Can we get make the quarterback sweat a little bit? Just something.
He did a good job of setting the edge, but I think for the money that he got paid, fans expect more.
Yeah.
Whether it's because of a new system or whatever the case is, there's something that is holding him back, it seems. Mm-hmm. But I hate to keep going back to him, although we all love him. Kelsey has spoken very highly of him on the radio all week. He felt like his last game was his best game, and there's been improvements each week. Hopefully this is the week where he gets to the quarterback and starts making
and Brandon Graham also
has been great
earlier.
He's been incredible this year.
He has also echoed that sentiment about Bryce Huff as well.
Well, maybe Vic needs to find a role that fits him better. Maybe he's being asked to do something he's just not wanting to do.
I don't know. Maybe this is the Bryce Huff breakout game because Baker Mayfield has been sacked 12 times in the last 2 games.
This is it.
Yeah, he's a guy who likes to hang on.
If he can get after the quarterback the way that like Denver had, why not?
And
why not? Bryce Huff
would love a Carter repeat, to see back-to-back weeks.
That guy's a monster.
You can be a dog. We love that.
I mean, how impressed were you with the defensive line in particular, with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis? I mean, I feel like last week was what this entire fan base has been wanting out of those two for the past several years now.
For sure, yeah. I mean, what was it, a couple years ago? They were one of the best defensive fronts in all of the NFL, and we kind of have been pining to see more of that. Maybe not replicate what we did, so many guys with double-digit sacks as we did a few years ago, but to see those guys be as disruptive as they were for a team that was so good at running the ball. Derek Carr had felt very comfortable the first few weeks of the season, and we made him feel uncomfortable all game long.
Yeah, I loved it.
And one thing real quick, Godwin Goodwin and Evans, our secondary is going to get a test. But boy, our boy from Toledo is due to.
Quinyon Mitchell.
He's come so close to picks this year, and he's about to get one.
Yeah,
he's about to get one.
I think so too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, what do you think? 215-915-PHAN or fox39.com/upload. Remember to also use both of those on Sunday to give us your post-game reactions. When we come back, we are talking around the league coming up. Welcome back into the Phantastic Sports Show.
Wait, you know our girl Breland, right? She likes to read.
Yeah.
She just told us in the commercial that she has read 62 books
62
this year.
Yeah.
Not in her life.
Yeah,
This year.
My goal is 75, so I will update you guys on whether or not
I have not read 60-something books in my
couldn't
life.
name 62 books.
I couldn't even name 62.
not at all.
Moby Dick, and then after that, the Harry Potter books. That's it.
Yeah, well, okay, that's 8 right
War
there.
and Peace.
That's 9.
10.
There you go. Okay. Anyway, we are now going to dive into the book of the NFL.
There you go. Nice.
As we go around the league here, Kyle. Obviously, your job kind of takes you
around
here,
the
there,
country.
and everywhere. What have been your stops so far, and which teams have really impressed you throughout these first 3 weeks, maybe 4 if you want to include Dallas, but I don't think you're gonna.
No, I am not. So first couple weeks I've been to Los Angeles for Chargers Raiders, Pittsburgh for
A lot of fights in the
Chargers,
stands
Steelers.
for that Chargers
Yes, there
Raiders.
was. Fights on the field, fights in
That's
the
how my
stands.
Peeps in
Wow.
LA do it. They
And then,
like to fight over nothing in the crowd. It's just embarrassing.
Kansas City in week 2, and then I'm back out to LA for Kansas City Chargers.
So you were there for Cincinnati, Kansas City.
Yes,
Got
sir.
it.
Yeah, exciting
Oh,
game.
that was a fun
Cincinnati
one.
did not look like the same team this past week, though.
Yeah,
Thoughts on Joe
absolutely
Burrow's
not.
hairdo?
I
It
mean,
sure
you know,
is.
it is a statement. He's the real Slim Shady of 2024, I guess.
When you're
Just
roaming the sidelines,
nowhere
Looks
near as
like
exciting.
that wrestler Cody Rhodes.
Oh, Cody Rhodes. There we go.
I can't.
when you're roaming the
hate
sidelines, can you hear conversations? The crowd noise? Can you hear like what Burrow is telling a guy? Or what?
Sometimes the players or the coaches are very good at remembering that they can hear each other because they're next to each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes if they can't hear themselves, they yell, and then I can hear everything that they say.
Interesting.
Tackle the guy.
A lot of that. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things that cannot be repeated on
I love
television.
it, though.
Ooh,
So,
I
I mean,
like
that's-
that
that's
little
so
inside
interesting.
Secrets.
Yes.
We should have you mic'd up one time. You know how the Eagles mic
Yeah.
up the players?
Yeah.
It should be you, Kyle. Okay, so as you observe over this first, basically, month here, little less than, who are the teams that really just maybe might be under the radar, but something we should be taking a look at?
So I guess they're not under the radar record-wise. The Commanders have been a big surprise for me so far. I think that Jane Daniels,
I would
the
agree.
way that he's been able to throw the ball, you've seen small improvements from him every single week. You know, the first week he was a lot of checkdowns. I think he's second or first in the league in throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage, but that's mostly from the first 6 quarters of play this season. As you saw in this game against Cincinnati,
Man, they did everything
trusted
right.
himself a
Yeah.
little bit more, and the coaching has been really good. I think that's the biggest surprise from them so far. Is usually when you're a team bad enough to pick number 2, you might not have the best coaching in place, you might not have the best protections or schemes in place, and instead of trying to take him and fit their scheme, they have schemed around his strengths
think
and helped him grow
Eagles
in the
should
league
be.
so far.
They should be prepared to split with the Commanders this year.
Okay.
Well,
It's just
I think all of a
it's
sudden
just
there's 3
respect.
quarterbacks in this division when we thought there was 2 coming into the season.
They
I
could
think
beat
that
Dallas
he's-
twice and split with the Commanders. Would you accept that?
That's fine.
Okay.
As long as you beat Dallas twice, that's
Which
Yeah,
hasn't
that's
happened,
fine
what,
by me.
in over 10 years?
Yeah,
It's gonna happen
been
this
a hot
year.
minute. But anyway, as we look to week 4 here, we have already seen the S show that was the Cowboys and Giants yesterday.
That
We
was-
don't need to watch that ever again. But as we look to week 4, what's kind of the matchup that has really kind of maybe caught your eye a little bit, besides the one that you're working?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I'm excited about that one just because I'll be there. I think that everybody's pretty excited about the quarterback matchup with the Bills and the Ravens. But the thing that's most pertinent to Eagles and Eagles fans, it has to be the matchup between Minnesota and Green Bay. I think that they're two top-tier teams coming into the season. The question on one team was the quarterback. All of a sudden, the resurgence of Sam Darnold is very real. It feels through the first 3 weeks.
I'm waiting for the wheels to fall off that.
The bottom can drop off at any moment, right? That can happen. We've seen what he can do, but I trust O'Connell. I think that they have a very strong coaching staff. They rely on the run a lot, and they're not forcing him to do something that he's not comfortable doing.
I haven't seen the Packers since the Eagles played them. How have they been able to win without Jordan Love?
Jordan Love. It's been a difficult task, but it's
Jordan Davis.
just bigger than the offensive lineman in front of him.
Anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Jordan Davis under center. Oh my God.
Well, I think it's been they haven't asked him to be Jordan Love. I think that you bring in another guy, you let him play to his strengths. I know that I'm kind of banging that drum a lot, but when a coach allows a player to play to his strengths instead of forcing him to do something he doesn't do well, you start to see success. And they've run the ball well. They've done intermediate passing instead of relying on the deep ball like Jordan does. And then their defense is good enough to keep them in games and allow him to escape and win.
All right.
Alrighty. Well, let's get to the go vote here.
We're skipping
tonight. Well, it's sponsored.
We have to go to it.
Oh, okay.
Let's
Yeah,
go to
we
it.
have to go to it. So, guys, here is our go vote this evening. We want to know, is the bye week coming at the right time for the Eagles? 67% of you guys say yes. No, 33%. In order to vote, you can just go use that QR code or go to fox29.com/go vote. When we come back,
Sponsored by Toyota.
Yeah, a very quick wrap on your fills.
Do we want to?
We have to.
No. It's sponsored.
Welcome back. We are down the stretch, and that means we have to talk Phils. I know. We don't really want to tonight. It wasn't very
Bad
good.
night. If you care about the National League, the best record in the NL, it was not a good night because the Dodgers are up 11-3. They're going to take a one-game lead. That means the NLCS, if everything works out the way we hope, would start in Los Angeles, assuming the Dodgers don't get bounced in the first round like they normally do. Should we be scoreboard watching, or is that are we good to move on?
If baseball is your favorite sport, do it. If it's your second favorite sport, you don't have to be too worried about it. I think that first round bye is sufficient enough.
Okay.
I think that obviously they understand the importance of playing here. Rob Thompson has talked about that all season long. Playing in front of the Philadelphia crowd as much as possible is important. But if all things go well, you'll get 2-3 games here regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And who knows, like you said, the Dodgers have a very sketchy track history.
In the early rounds,
maybe it won't even matter in the end. Guys, I need to address kind of the elephant in the clubhouse at this point. And no, we're not talking about Taijuan Walker. We're talking about another pitcher, Ranger Suarez. What is going on with that? Because he started off the season so hot, and we knew that was not sustainable.
Yeah. Yep.
We knew that. But this decline is...
It's a problem.
It's troubling.
He's clearly the four-starter,
Red
Kyle.
October.
I agree. I think that there were concerns even in the beginning, like you said. Is that sustainable? He's pitching a lot of innings, which he has not done in previous years, and then he goes on the injured list with the back. I don't know if it's afraid to trust it. I know that when Turner first came back off of his hamstring injury, he was slow to get going again. I don't know if it's a similar feeling where he just doesn't trust that he's fully healthy yet. But they may have to look into using him how they have in the past, out of the bullpen in kind of a quasi role and go bullpen game if a game force needed.
In the past, he's been so good in the playoffs. He's been arguably the number 2 starter on this team. That's how good he's been. He's allowed, 15 runs in his last 4 starts. Tonight, 6 earned runs, 7 hits. He went on that. Remember how he started, and they were talking Cy Young this year, and he got a little tired, and I think they IL'd him, and he came back, and he just wasn't the same. The command isn't there. Maybe he's lost a little velocity. I hope he's not hurt. I mean, that would be my only explanation, because he's a guy who's been pretty steady the last couple of years.
I think one thing that it's going to affect immediately is in that first round, with it being 5 games instead of 7, there was a lot of talk that maybe they could afford to take 1 extra hitter and 1 less pitcher. I don't think you can do that anymore. I think you need to have a few guys who can pitch bulk innings, with Ranger being one of them, but with the caveat that he may only go 2-3 innings when he's out there, and then you're going to have to go to an Allard or a Gilbert or a Phillips after that.
This is a little bit concerning to me. because you can get through those best of 5, but once it starts getting into best of 7,
depth starts to show. Depth matters.
Yeah, and it's a problem at this point. So hopefully the bye does Ranger some wonders. I feel like everyone's might be a little banged up here, and maybe that's the case, like you said, that he's not really trusting himself just yet. I don't really know, but he's got to get it together because this is not sustainable.
But one good thing working for the Phillies this year that they didn't have in years past is that is a really, really good Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah,
he was just good before, and I think now you can kind of switch roles. Ranger is Christopher. Christopher is Ranger now. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit of a swap. I get what you're trying to say there, even if we're doing the Woj figuring it out. But I think that with Chris's track record so far this year, he's been pretty consistent. A little bit back down to earth, like we thought Ranger was going to do, but nowhere near as much of a fall off as we've seen with Suarez.
Well,
thought you were looking for your bell.
We're gonna see how this goes. Kyle, have the most fun in Los Angeles this weekend.
Thank you. I will.
I hope it's a good game.
Say hi to Tracy Wolfson.
Okay. You know what? On that note, we got to go to break before Jason does more impressions. Welcome back. So
Do you
we
love that
asked
song? Because that's the song you just go to sleep to.
I
and
mean,
just
it was the old Props and Locks. So I'm like, it's like little nostalgia.
Took my wife on a date. We listened to that on our way to the restaurant.
Good. I'm sure she loved that.
Yeah.
All
Put her
right,
in
you
the
guys,
mood.
it's staying pat. 67% of you guys say the bye is all right. So I love that.
It's positive thinking.
Yeah, I mean, we need a little bit of a break, I think.
Well, yeah.
Because too much heart palpitation, right?
Got to get our receivers well and ready.
Bye. Have
Go
a good one.
Birds.